Hi, I'm about to start a new sewing project, so I wanted to review the fabrics that I'm going to use. I'm going to make another of my design, the Zambeesi Jacket, except I'm going to extend it into a longer version, into a coat. This new project was inspired by this wonderful, wonderful piece of cotton vintage upholstery fabric that I bought just a few days ago. My studio in Marundai is located on the highway. Marundai is a very small town. We don't have many shops here, but I'm very fortunate that the shop next door is called Hidden Treasures, and it's a vintage and bric-a-brac shop, and they get lots of pieces of textile. And I bought this textile for $1, and I just absolutely love it. The colours, the texture, it's just magnificent. So I'm very inspired to use this as the main feature fabric in my coat. Unfortunately, it's not a very big piece. It's only just over a half a metre long and a little more than a half a metre wide. Now I'm just going to go through some of the other fabrics I'm going to incorporate in the project. They're almost all upholstery fabric remnants that I've collected over time. This is another one. These golds will tie in very nicely with the original piece there. These are some small pieces I collected about a week ago in my large nearby town, Scone. A silk fabric with a interesting embroidery on it. These flower motifs are quite raised up. They're like velvet on the surface. And once again, the colour ties in really nicely with my golds. This is another fragment from the same shop, from the Red Cross shop on the same day. I think this is it's a fairly lightweight dress weight fabric, so if I use this in the project with the heavier weight upholstery fabrics, I'll just back it with something heavier. Another upholstery fabric remnant, another cotton and a fairly classic floral. This is a great big king-size doona cover that I collected in Melbourne on a holiday there with my husband about a year ago. And of course, one of our main fun things to do on holiday is to shop in thrift shops. And I found this absolutely wonderful king-size quilt in Melbourne. It cost $8, and of course it's backed with some really nice beige 100% cotton fabric. So a really good find for $8. Lots of potential there. Another really beautiful vintage piece of upholstery fabric. I've used this in several projects. I was fortunate enough to come by several metres of it a couple of years ago in nearby Tamworth. This is a beautiful textured piece, and the colours once again are going to tie in really well with the golds and burgundies in the project. A leftover fragment from a doona cover that I used in another coat a few years ago, embroidered. More cotton, upholstery fabric, stripes, nice texture. A piece of cotton pinwheel. I've forgotten. Needle cord, that's the word. Cotton is it's a cotton fabric. It's pinwheel needle cord. More upholstery. More various bits and pieces from my finds. A brocade, Okay, so I haven't really decided how I'm going to incorporate these in the project yet. So I'm going to cut something out right now, the back, I think, of my Zambeesi coat. I'm going to cut out the upper back. Using one of my heavy steel weights that I improvise to be as weights in the studio. I don't pin fabrics usually unless they're very, very light. Okay, so this is the pattern piece for the left and right side back of the Zambeesi jacket. Using my blunt dressmaking scissors today. I left my good ones at home and I can't be bothered going home from the studio to collect them. And my old grey head is about to go across the fabric here. There we go. That's going to be a right side of the Zambeesi. And from this piece, I'll cut the left. Okay, to do that I've got to flip the pattern, of course. Yeah, I have decided to go over there. I'm very economical with fabric. I have a real working class person's abhorrence of waste. Having grown up in a very working class family in the 1960s, fabric was expensive back in those days in comparison to your average family income, so I learned to be super economical with cutting out fabric. Later on, when I studied being a industrial pattern maker, it's also very important in the industrial application, of course, to use patterns that aren't wasteful of fabric. So with my background, my working class background and my training as an industrial pattern maker, I've always learned to be really respectful about minimising wastage. There we go. right side pieces cut out. I'm just going through the pattern pieces here, looking for the centre back pieces. Yeah, that's the lower centre back. I designed this pattern because I have a lot of, buy a lot of small remnant pieces of fabric and have lots of offcuts in the studio, and I don't throw fabric out. So this jacket is really good for using up leftover pieces. Alright, so let me see. I'm auditioning here, looking for something I want to put through that centre back there. As I said, I hadn't decided in advance what fabrics I was going to place where for this jacket, so I'm just doing this totally intuitively at the moment. Yeah, I think I like this one. Okay, let us cut out the upper centre back of the jacket. Just manoeuvring around again, trying to find a nice area of the pattern to cut. Okay, upper centre back. There we go. And the last piece of this little jigsaw puzzle to cut is this lower centre back. Okay, so I'll be back in a little while when I've stitched up this back to show you the result. So here we are, back again a few minutes later. Pretty quick to make this back, and I've stitched it up in my favourite signature way of leaving the seams on the outside, and then I fell them down by doing the 3-step zigzag stitch over the top of them, which is actually a lingerie specialty stitch, but I like it because it allows the very edge of the raw edge of the textiles to fray, and I just love frayed bits of fibre, just love them. So many of my art garments are made in this technique, felling the seams on the outside, allowing them to fray like that, and I've spent many happy hours of my life pulling the loose fibres out to allow those long bits to come away and the little frayed edge to show. And of course it does have the advantage of making a very clean finish on the inside, meaning that I don't have to line. Sometimes I do just because I want the extra warmth, but it's a lovely clean finish there. And I like the extra embellishment that it adds on the outside with these little frayed edges. And it does save on overlocking. Now in my patterns I do explain how to do this. It's very simple, very straightforward. However, for those who think this is a little bit too wild and woolly for their taste, there's no obligation to do it this way. You can put the seams on the inside in the more traditional way of finishing and overlock if you wish. So that's it for today, and I'll be back in another video to show how I'm proceeding with making the fronts and sleeves and rest of the garment.